But before we start with today's video, I'd like to go over a few special offers that we have on our merch store today. Welcome to the Patriot Dad headquarters merch store. Go ahead and head over to our website, seen here, and scroll all the way to the bottom and enter your email here to join our email list. There is currently an ongoing promotion for 10% off your entire first order for new email subscribers. As a member of the email list, you will also be able to take advantage of future promotions and a future newsletter that will be coming soon, where we will feature links to other resources, promotions, discounts, and ads for merchandise and other items that fit with our brand. There's also currently an ongoing promotion on the website right now, where if you go to the website and you buy $50 in apparel, that is shirts, hoodies, or anything else under the apparel section, that you will be able to receive the Don't Mess With My Family black coffee mug for 50% off. So go ahead and go to the headquarters website, sign up for the email list, and take advantage of that 10% off your entire first order, as well as the buy $50 in apparel and get the black coffee mug for 50% off. I look forward to seeing you around the headquarters, Patriots. Bye for now. And now, back to our week's video. Why, hello, fellow Patriots, and welcome to episode 12 on the Patriot Dad channel, where we can discuss current events and modern issues, all while keeping it as real as possible. Today, we're going to discuss the current military recruiting disaster that is occurring as of July of 2023 and what it's setting us up for at a time when we are depleting our materiel required to wage an offensive or defensive war, both from a logistical standpoint as well as a personnel standpoint. The first thing that I wanted to really talk about is the lack of a unifying culture or principles. And you can look up here at my previous video about the destruction of a sense of community. So the US no longer really has a unifying message or a single culture to rally around or to motivate people who want to defend it. It used to be people came here to the United States to be American, to be citizens, to contribute to the overall good in the United States. The last time we had anything close to a unifying rally or call was post 9/11, the feeling of unity around the face of an enemy attack. Now, after 20 years of war and not much to show for it except for the traumatized friends that have returned or those who didn't return at all, the constant messages of people in government doing shady things and not being held accountable, it makes it kind of unrelatable. It also makes war or anything related to it unpalatable. By the end of our conflict and our withdrawal in Afghanistan, the American people were just sick of being in a current state of war. The lack of feeling and direction, unity or purpose in the armed services is reflected quite well in the current discussion about the National Defense Authorization Act that's going through Congress right now. Here you can see where the co-host, Katie Bouldan, sorry if I butcher your name, asked, do you see the president signing a National Defense Authorization Act that limits transgender rights, that rips out diversity training, and does exactly the opposite of what you said the president supports when it comes to access to reproductive rights? They then asked, does this put the administration in a tough position if this is what you're looking at? And Democrats are looking at this in the House right now, having to explain why Democrats would vote against pay raises for the military, future investments in infrastructure, which is a big part of what the NDAA is. Kirby responded, the president's comfortable and confident that he's not going to sign legislation that's going to affect military readiness in a negative way or affect our people. He's not going to support amendments. He's not going to support legislation that's going to put our readiness of our troops at greater risk. The interesting thing is, a lot of the decisions that they're making right now are the things that are leading to us having a compromised readiness. Also, what is with this discussion about diversity training and personal rights when you're talking about military service? I don't know about you. If you served, I did. But when I went into the military, it was about serving a cause bigger than myself at the expense of my individual rights. There was no diversity quotas or concerns. It was who was a good fit for the job and could perform under pressure. My nuclear training was difficult, and my time on the boat wasn't all fun and games. That was part of the experience, serving an ideal that was bigger than I was. What are we discussing when we're talking about military service and we're talking about reproductive rights and diversity quotas and other nonsense? Is that really what the military is about? Is that what we're all for? It doesn't make sense to me anymore. That, and if you look post 2001, the possibility of going to war is high. We were in a near continuous state of war in some region of the world since 2001. Why did we fight in Iraq and Afghanistan? Why did we leave billions of dollars in assets and military hardware in Afghanistan for the enemy to have? Why did our friends in uniform give their lives over those 20 years? How about during the conflicts in Vietnam, Gulf War, Gulf II, Korea, Bosnia, Somalia? What good were we doing serving as the world's policeman? People don't seem to want to join up into the armed services for the next potential conflict for an ambiguous purpose, for no real gain at home, when there are so many problems here at home to sort out before we go overseas and spread our success to others. Now that we're out of Afghanistan, we're looking at the real potential for a ground war kicking off in Europe between Russia and NATO over Ukraine. Why would anybody join for that? Most people join the military for education, for travel, for work training and experience, for serving others. But if you're just going to go fight in a ground war over land that isn't ours for a purpose that isn't ours, I don't understand it. I don't. Not to mention, if you look at a couple of articles, how do you get behind the military? What motivates you to join? It's a sense of duty and belonging and a cause. But how do you sense that you belong when this is what you see? An army officer in bondage gear, in uniform, which anybody who served knows that that is not acceptable, which is why they are investigating these people. But when this is the public face that you see, why would you join the military to serve that? I don't know. I don't get it. And then you have another article here on NBC News that every branch of the military is struggling to make its 2022 recruiting goals. And if you look at articles from 2023, it is not showing much improvement at all. With a record low number of Americans eligible to serve and a few of those willing to do it, this is the year we question the sustainability of an all-volunteer force. This should terrify us. If we can't maintain an all-volunteer force, what does that mean? That means they're gonna have to start drafting people. And if people already don't believe in the cause and don't think it's worth the personal sacrifice, what makes those in power think that if people are drafted now, that they would show up? I don't think they would. And I don't want to wait and find out. Something else that we need to look at is that we're seriously depleting our stores of weapons by funding and supporting the current conflict in Europe. Here we have a U.S. Naval Institute article from August of last year. This is 11 months ago, and we were talking about the dangerous depletion of American weapons. So if we were depleting ourselves 11 months ago, how bad is it now? Well, we're sending cluster bombs because we're running out of artillery shells and other conventional arms. What's the problem with cluster bombs, you might ask? Well, funny you would ask that, because currently, if you look for the same article right here, more than 100 countries have banned such weapons because unexploded bomblets can be picked up by civilians, causing injury and death. Those are indiscriminate. They don't care who picks it up. It could be next year. It could be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 50 years from now. Unexploded ordnance is a danger to everybody. This is why these munitions are not typically permitted on the battlefield anymore, especially when near civilians. And where are they currently fighting the conflict in Ukraine? In and around towns. I don't know how it is that we think that it's okay to do this to ourselves. And for what? Is all of NATO depleting their ammunition? Has everybody contributed their fair share, or are we carrying the lion's share as normal with NATO? Where we pay, where we supply to support Europe, and for what in return? We really need to start asking ourselves that. Is it worth it? Should we be the world's police? Don't we have enough debt already? Don't we have enough problems at home already? And we're having recruiting shortfalls, even though we have expanded the age requirements to where now the Navy allows you to be up to 41 years old to rejoin the Navy, or the Army has now pushed it to 39. Our ASVAB minimum scores have been sliding downwards. So as we increase the pool, we still don't have enough volunteers. This is not good, but something we need to ask ourselves, is this a problem with the military? Is it a problem with the recruiting? Is it a problem with the citizens? Or is it a problem of our communities? Is it a vision problem where people aren't unified behind a common goal anymore? What do you think? Leave a comment below. Because if we can't find a common ground and, as we talked about in a previous video as well, rebuild our communities, we're going to find it more and more difficult to coalesce around that common message and maintain an all-volunteer force. It used to be, as we discussed earlier, that people were looking at the prospect of travel, education, career training, and that was enough to incentivize people to join. But now all these conflicts and death has made it so much less appealing. The media and a constant stream of messages about how negative war and conflict can be, people are less willing to serve. And people are more selfish than ever. So why would you serve something greater than yourself when all you care about is yourself? Do you think that they're going to have to start drafting? I think if we get into a conflict, they're going to try, but I don't think people are going to show up in the numbers they think they will. But you got to remember, the United States isn't lost. She can be restored by being involved, by educating yourself, by talking to one another, rebuilding our communities, and the culture that made this once great nation stand apart as a beacon on the hill for all in the world to come to and to emulate. We all need to work together and help make her great again. We all need to stand up and be patriots and care. Thank you for watching this week's video, and if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. If you want to see more videos like it, please subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon so you can be notified when I post another video. Please share the video and feel free to leave a comment if you have a recommendation for a future topic. Next week, we're going to be doing a small follow-up to this. Next week, we're going to be having a discussion about the IRR, or the Individual Ready Reserve, and the limited recall that was ordered on 13 July of 2023 from the White House. It'll be a nice little discussion where we can talk about what this might mean. And we can speculate, but we can also talk about if we're pulling up the IRR, even in limited quantities, something is afoot. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Take care, God bless, and bye for now.